Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, we start the Zeal arc. And yes, I'm going to be pronouncing it Zeal despite the fact that it's spelled Zexal. Fuck Zexal. Zexal's not a word. Here is our primary protagonist, Yuma. Yuma is a terrible duelist. That is what the entire first season of the show is about. Yuma is absolutely terrible, and he gets his ass saved by Astral, who will be showing up here in a moment, every fucking duel. Also, Shark is really fucking cool.
So that's two things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal that I was not sure about. Is what is the correct way to pronounce the name, and two, what is the gender of the main character?
Yuma is in fact male. He is supposedly a young male, probably slightly younger than Yugi was.
I suppose that is a clash of the cultures, because to my Americanized eyes, that he looked like a girl.
Just you wait till we get to Arc V, Mr. Cloud.
We're finally getting into Xyz Monsters. It's about time. I love it.
Okay, so this is a much more more complicated tutorial because we are Yuma actually runs for most of the series a rank 4 combo deck using the onomatopoeia monsters, but he doesn't have access to the onomatopoeia stuff yet. So he's got to work up to that.
O-N-O-M-A-T-A-O kick your A onomatopoeia. Whoa, yeah.
Also, Shark opens up with his signature boss for the moment. Number 17, Leviathan Dragon.
What? Man, who died and made you king of the stormy skies? Holy smokes!
Thankfully, Desquala has the ability to burn our opponent for 400 for each card in their hand.
Yeah, it's... There's no suspense here. This is the fourth time we're starting a new season in Legacy of the Duelist. There is no way... This is a tutorial match. We are going to win this game no matter what happens.
Yeah. But thankfully, the tutorial does actually show off specifically all of the relatively, new and exciting ways that we decided to have card design escalate during the Zeal era. Specifically, monster card effects now have like upwards of 2 effects on them, and one of those effects is not necessarily a summoning condition. Detach Desquala in order to special summon Throwstone unit.
Nice. Getting more materials with which to create more Xyz
activate
monsters.
Throwstone unit, attributing our MX Saber Invader in order to blow up Leviathan Dragon. Then we can use Xyz Reborn in order to bring back our MX Saber Invoker.
Right, because Xyz monsters do not necessarily depend on having Xyz materials, just that when an Xyz monster is brought back from the graveyard or from the banished zone, it no longer has Xyz materials attached to it.
And yeah, MX Saber Invoker doesn't have a once per turn clause, so now we can just, now we can spam out monsters like this. Let's see, the tutorial has a special summon Desquala, MX Saber Invoker again, Throwstone unit, Goblinberg, Utopia, Turret Warrior, and Utopia a second time. We performed 8 special summons in this fucking turn.
I knew Utopia was going to have its own entrance cutscene.
Yeah, you knew that specifically because, Utopia is the primary archetype that Yuma gets tied to.
Utopia was also introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh! As the first generation of Xyz monsters to really get you in the mood for this new and exciting way of bringing monsters to the battlefield.
Yeah. The thing is, Utopia is actually a really good generic Xyz monster in general, mostly because it's got really good stats.
Your opponent has 7,200 life points left. Let's finish this, shall we?
Yay!
Yay. After the duel.
Yes, Astral bothers to explain to Yuma what the fuck number cards are, despite the fact that Shark already knows what number cards are.
What, I'm sorry, what are number cards?
Alright, the plot line for Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal is that Astral is an alien. Astral is an alien from a totally different dimension. Astral is an alien from a totally different dimension whose main power has been spread across and sealed away by 100 different number monsters. These 100 different number monsters have mostly wound up on Earth fucking somehow. And their influence is starting to actually impact the duelist population. So it is Yuma and Astral's job to go around beating the shit out of people that have numbers as number hunters in order to successfully, get these cards in their extra deck and restore Astral's memories. Because Astral is suffering from interdimensional amnesia.
Right. I made the plot line. So let me take a guess, because we are well acquainted with Yu-Gi-Oh! Canon's proclivity for amnesia plot lines. Although, now that I realize at the onset of asking the question, it may be inappropriate because there are spoilers attached to it. So sure, let's help Astral, our totally innocent alien friend, to get his memories back. I'm sorry, what is our motivation for doing this again?
Astral asked us to help him, and Yuma wants to be the best duelist in the world. Yuma cannot be the best duelist in the world. He doesn't know how to read his own fucking cards.
Right. I do remember something about that Yuma is one of those brazen types who just goes blindly into combat, not realizing what he's getting into.
It's a poison mummy.
I'm seeing a very healthy mix of cards that came from expansions that are easily like 10 or 12 years apart.
Right now it is, because again, Yuma isn't actually successfully tied to the onomatopoeia stuff until a bit later on. We do have some of the onomatopoeia pieces right now, like Zubaba Knight and Gaga Gardna, but the big pieces of the onomatopoeia stuff that Yuma's got access to for this duel specifically is a Magician and Gardna, and even then he doesn't have that good of access to it.
I get it now. Flip Turner, so a lot of his monsters are flip effect monsters.
Yes, they are. He's also a bad guy.
Sure, he is.
He is. He specifically is a minor villain for the first season, despite the fact that Yuma doesn't like him referring to him as a villain.
Right. He's a little problem. He's a minor nuisance.
Yeah.
He has a Napoleon complex.
I don't think he has a Napoleon complex, but he is a minor nuisance. Oh look, Xyz Reborn. Now, if only we could actually bring out an Xyz monster that was worth a damn. Unfortunately, Yuma's extra deck in this duel, the only Xyz monster that he has that is even remotely worth a damn is Terabyte. And Terabyte would require me to have 3 level 4 monsters on the field, so I'm not going to be able to get into him.
That has to be one of the most disruptive uses of Rafflesia Seduction I have ever seen, and that card has been around for a long time. So by taking control of one of your monsters, he actually denied you materials with which you could have conducted either an Xyz summon or a Synchro summon.
No, he did not, because I have no tuners and none of the monsters on my field are the same level.
Well, I mean, that's incidental, because now that we're out of tutorial land, now anything can happen in this game.
Well, supposedly anything can happen in this game, but look at what the state of the game actually is. I'm sitting on my Zubaba Knight because I have literally no other better monsters in my entire deck. No, seriously, and he's just inflicting a shitload of damage onto himself, specifically because of his own level limit area A. And here is where I make my first major screw-up of the game, assuming that I actually have Utopia. I do have Utopia here, but I can't actually use Utopia in order to win here.
Well, I mean, of course, because he's got 2 face-down monsters.
No. Level limit area A would make it so that I actually would be able to kill him if I attack into those monsters.
Well, I thought level limit area A meant that you can't attack with monsters that are level 4 or higher.
No, level limit area B does that. Hey, Book of Moon.
Oh, right. Now this ain't this a history lesson? Wasn't there like a big controversy as to how Book of Moon interacted with Xyz monsters for a while that they had to clarify?
Not as much as you'd think, honestly, because it's actually it actually is relatively straightforward. Because all Book of Moon does is set the monster. So the monster that has the Xyz materials keeps those Xyz materials, but they just can't activate their effects because they are face down.
Right, and then some guy argued that Xyz materials are like equipments, and equipments you can't equip face down monsters. And then they finally clarified after scratching their heads for 45 minutes, saying Xyz materials actually belong to the Xyz material zone, and you can have materials on face down monsters because cards do not necessarily have to be face up in order to have Xyz materials, because those materials function different than equipments.
They wouldn't. It's not technically a zone that they belong to. They still belong. They still belong to the monster itself. Hey, we got Slate Warrior. Cool.
I love Slate Warrior.
Slate Warrior is pretty awesome. And now we get a relatively interesting comedic bit that turns into a serious bit, because Astro, being not from Earth, doesn't understand that this television broadcast is in fact a fictional TV show. And then his presence here makes the TV show real.
So, that's some 80s level of Alien on Earth comedy, like Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah. Hey, Nelson. Now, to be perfectly honest, I like the archetype that Nelson Andrews is actually running. It is specifically focused on a monster called Esper Star Sparrow. And, yeah, I actually like this archetype. I don't like what ends up going on in the next duel, mind you, but I do like this archetype. Unfortunately, during the Xyz era, we get a lot of very, very small archetypes. One of my favorites is actually the super defense robos, and in the next episode, we will get to explain why we have so many very, very small archetypes. Be safe, everybody.
Yes, the progenitor for the future of Yu-Gi-Oh!